Good evening and welcome to another episode 6 now, of the Next Gen Racing Turbo Tuesday podcast. I am one of the hosts, Jordan, and I am joined by Mikey.
Hello.
And we are not joined by Jack. He is unfortunately away.
It's a shame. You said people can have a day off.
Well, I think you did about 2 weeks ago, so...
That's fair, alright. Let's not get bogged down with who said what. You know what I mean?
But obviously, slightly less to talk about tonight, because obviously we kind of covered Monday, Tuesday last week for what was effectively week 5 of the season in the last podcast. Although I think we are going to be brushing up on one of the leagues.
Okie doke.
So, should we start with the Wednesdays, or should we recap on our one Monday league?
Could leave the Monday league to last. Keep it to the traditional.
Keep the suspense.
Yeah. Keep everyone involved.
I'm just sharing the link to the podcast a minute. I shall pop up. I think you've got some standings there, so we're going to head to the ACC GT3 League on Wednesdays. Do you want to have a look at the Lobby 1 standings? I'm sure you can work out who won and not, if they're on there.
Let me just get it up. I've got no elevator music as well, unfortunately.
Oh, they're not on there. I've just spotted. I'll have to get a picture of them in a minute. But they were at Misano, which the only time I've driven Misano is on a MotoGP game. I don't know about you.
I've never driven Misano. Never.
Have you not? So have you never had a MotoGP game then?
No, I've always had a little go during like the demos or whatever. I've just never. I've got a lot of respect for the guys that decide to jump on something that, let's brightly be honest, they come off it, they're gonna get injured pretty badly on the other side. So, you know, I've got a lot of respect for people who do that sort of thing, to be honest. So it's like, fair enough. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I think I did watch 1 or 2 races, to be fair, last year, but that was it, to be honest, pretty much. Not really anything else more than that.
Yeah, so obviously they went to Misano. Tricky circus. Also, I drove there on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Lobby 1 wise though, it was Mr. Robot who took pole position. Kill City was first. He's mental fast driver, as we know. Mr. Robot second, and name I haven't raced against for a while now. STDRS Gerino, who used to race on Wednesday P-Cars 2 in the leagues I used to host. So he's a quick lad, and he's just proven it on Wednesday by getting his first podium in Lobby 1, which I can tell you now is not a slow lobby in the GT3 League.
To be fair, obviously what you've told me, to be fair, George, is these GT3 leagues are pretty competitive, to be fair. There's a fair bit of pace, shall we say, in them.
Yeah, even in Lobby 2, I mean, the Lobby 2 pace, I mean, I'm in Lobby 2, and it's not too far off the back end of Lobby 1. In all fairness, in fact, actually, the guys who tend to win Lobby 2, there's one in particular, Silver Carter, probably does have the pace for Lobby 1, but obviously where he started in Lobby 2 for this year, because they've done a time trial to split the initial to do the initial lobby split, you kind of can't really move tiers mid-season. It's a bit hard to then integrate the championship points across.
Yeah, it just causes issues, really, doesn't it? So it's a lot of faffing about, to be brutally honest with you. So.
Yeah, well, I know Elliot, who runs the GT3s, is like, well, I want to put him across, but what's the best way for points, and in the end it was decided that he was going to stay in lobby 2, and then they'll just move him up, and it effectively rebalanced the lobbies for next season, which is probably the best way to go about it, because it is a bit less hassle, and it is quite an easy way of to set up the next season, really, because you know exactly what lobbies most people will need to be in. Kevin saying we're early. Yes, we are a bit early because obviously it's break weeks, Christmas break, so no racing.
Elsewhere commitments was not obviously available for us to commit to, so we thought we'd higher our standards this week and turn up a tad earlier.
We'll make up for the late times from before.
Yeah, the amount of times we'll be there for 9 and we start like 9:30. It's like,
this makes up for it, or at least 2 weeks worth anyway.
we could all start somewhere, I suppose, Joe?
Yeah, no, exactly. Moving on to lobby 2 anyway for Mazzano. Silver Carter, as I mentioned, probably does have the pace for lobby 1 in general. He took pole position and the win, but it wasn't easy for him. Guy called Hemo 444 Ever Us pushed him, and I kid you not, qualifying, I think I qualified about 5th, and I was only 0.4 off pole position, and it was really annoying, really, because I think I could have taken pole position, but I just kept making tiny mistakes which lost me the time. And I finished provisionally on the podium. I know there's stuff in the background going on, so all the lobby 2 stuff is provisional at the moment, but yeah,
we'll leave that powers that be.
Pretty much, yeah.
Best way of putting that, mate.
Yeah.
Leave that with the powers that be, and then obviously once we receive an update from the top guys, we can then funnel that to the good ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Evening, P-Gip. How are you, buddy? So yeah, that was. It was quite an interesting race, Mazzano. A tricky circuit, especially when you're in a massive bus like Bentley Continental GT.
Can't go wrong with a good Bentley, mate.
No, it's quite nice actually on the game. I mean, as you know, Mike, I only bought the game during the Black Friday, and I've now done my second GT3 race, and I'm absolutely loving it. And that Bentley is fantastic. I mean, it's probably a really good, nice starting car, I tend to find. Because I drove one of the Astons, and it's just like, oh, it's a bit too tweaky for my liking.
I was who played around though, but say that I was Project Cars. I tried the Z4, didn't like it. Went to the Aston Martin, and I loved it. But it's one of them. Hi, Ralph. Hope all's well, mate. All good.
Yeah, Shadow Stalker. He's in lobby 2 for the Megans. He is a good driver. He sticks around really, really well, and he gets a decent amount of points, to be fair, for doing so. Moving on, Thursdays, my leagues. Well, I say my leagues. It's the ones I host the most, shall we say? You ever driven the Megans, Mikey?
Yes, on Project Cars.
Oh, they were fun on Project.
Yeah, I was actually I was in one of the. I think I actually was in a race that was streamed on YouTube or Twitch, one of the two. At Alton Park, I was doing well. And funny enough, Jack was watching that stream, and yeah. Where was it? First corner, second. Basically, the fourth corner, it's like a slight little chicane. Like you nip and tuck sort of corner. And every lap, I got it perfect, and I was catching. I think it was 3rd place, and I was hand over fist, catching. And I think it was 2 or 3 laps to go. And literally, obviously, I can't remember who it was that was commentating on it or whatever. they were talking about someone else's car, and as they went over to me, I hit the wall.
Oh,
I literally, I think my phone started just blowing up. It was just because one of the two other people I knew were watching it, and they were just like, "I can't believe you just done that." I was just like, "Oh, great." But they're not very nice in the wet. The Megans.
No. Well, they are
You
rear-wheel
enjoy it.
drive.
Well, there is that, to be fair, mate. But they are not
They're good cars. Good cars, but
other than that, mate, it's not bad.
yeah. Well, obviously they went to Red Bull Ring GP. It was dry for week 5. The top.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's we done wet a couple of seasons ago, and it kind of spread the field out. We done a race in the dry last season, and like the battle for the front was epic, and it was once again epic at the front. It was a fantastic fight between four people. Hero Cram, who is leading, who is the resident NXTGEN alien at the moment. He put it on pole position, but he had a Rudder 24, Hill Climb Racer, and Jainho right in his gap, right up his chuff. And we managed to prove that Hero Cram is human after all, because he did because he didn't get on the podium. It was Ruddo 24 who won the race. Fantastic. I mean, he absolutely deserved that win. Fought tooth and nail with Jainho right up his backside. But Hirokram ended up having a few penalties that he needed to get rid of near the end of the race. And obviously, the current competitiveness of the Megans, you lose that and you're off the back of the train, and you lose a lot of time now. It was really weird. In the first season of the Megans, you could get rid of the penalty a little bit, and you'd still be able to just about hang on to the place you were fighting for. But now you just drop back to whoever was behind you then, because of how competitive, how consistent the drivers are. It's fantastic. It's come on really nicely. But Ruddo.
Sorry, it's sort of the same with the BMs. You get one little mistake, and like obviously half the field, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not exactly very fast. Yeah, but I just give it a good go and have a good laugh and enjoy myself. But obviously there'll be one or two of the lads in lobby 2 will understand, obviously, at the back. Like I've had races with half the lads, and it's been quite competitive at the back. It gets to a point where you can tell who someone does a mistake.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's sort of like hand over fist, constantly changing. On some race, like one or two races that's been like that, and then there's one or two races where it's just the same order all the way around, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's pretty mental. Obviously, Ruddo won, Hill Climb second, with Jainho third. And yeah, the only reason that kind of finished the way was because each of them were making those tiny mistakes and just allowing the other one to nip down the inside or get a bit of a run here. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic racing. And to be honest, there was racing all through the field. I mean, I think P. Gibb was in a battle. Can't quite remember with who, but he was in a battle with, I think Bruce Lee Harding springs to mind. He was battling away. I was battling, and I was in about 9th, I think. So it was really, really quality racing once again for the Megans. But yeah, so Hirokram basically he's not going to win every race he's competed in, because he didn't do round 3. He wasn't around for that for personal reasons.
Which is Tabusco, so I can see it.
Yeah, he's not going to win every race. I mean, to be fair, I think Hirokram's goal this season is to win a reverse grid race, which is we're going to take the top 4 of the championship, possibly more if there's tight points.
Then go for like a one shot, like a last shot sort of thing.
Well, and then we chuck them at the back in reverse. They all get deliberately slow times to do. and they have to start at the back of the grid in reverse order, so they've got to make their way back through the pack, and obviously it will get harder as it goes up because you get the faster drivers that are behind him in the championship at the front. But I think that's Herocram's goal this season, is win the championship, but also he has never won a reverse grid race. So I think he's quite keen to get that under his belt. P. Gibbs saying he's fifth. Bobby and Timmy he was battling with.
Yeah,
which was obviously Bobby being a filler for the night, which was good to see.
Well, it is actually, like you said, it is good to see more people getting involved in the leagues.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we were talking about this before we went live, is that I think on a regular basis, I think the McGanns have anything between 27 to 30 drivers on a night consistently. Actually split across 2 lobbies, but it is fantastic to have.
I think we get about 21, 22. Yeah, obviously, it obviously it varies. You see, obviously, like you said, over the 2 lobbies, the same with us. But obviously, it is good to see there's quite a few people that do like to get involved. It's not just one of them. You do 1 or 2 races, and then you just waiting for the harebell to sort of just whiz past you. Well, you're waiting for people. It's good to see people are actually interested.
Yeah, and speaking of a second lobby, obviously the McGann lobby 2, Martin J009 took pole position in that one, but it was Snav who took the victory in the end, and I remember it was a brilliant move to take the lead, and it's his second next gen victory in total, a second of his season so far, so he's starting to put himself in a good position in terms of maybe trying to have a bit of a fight back near the top of the table. I mean, he was level with D10 Piper going into Red Bull Ring. He'll now be ahead of D10 Piper, and I think he's going to pull about maybe a point or 2 on Martin, which doesn't sound like a lot now, but when you take into account this league has a drop score system, it can be a lot.
It can mount up. Yeah, it can sort of mount up.
There's at least at the moment I'm just having a look now. There's 3 points that Snav would gain on Martin from a drop if the drop scores were counted now. So that can mount to a lot of a potential championship chance at the end. But the interesting thing is, Duds finished 3rd in the end for Red Bull Ring, and again, I haven't quite watched Jack's stream of it yet, but from what I've heard, it was some cracking racing from the Lobby 2 once again.
I'm actually looking forward to looking at that. I just haven't had a chance to, due to my current work and commitments.
It's what Christmas is for. I mean, I'm trying to get all of the races uploaded to the Next Gen official YouTube with a playlist. So hopefully over Christmas everyone can rewatch as much of the league racing as they can.
So obviously, if you're with your families and someone starts doing you there, then just jump on YouTube and obviously it'll hopefully be all sorted. Scrap
the Christmas movies. Put on some Next Gen racing.
Yeah.
Job sorted.
Let's just Die Hard. Come on, that's a classic. You, fair enough if it's something like. I think the racing's more intense than Die Hard, to be honest. Yeah, depends which one. But when it comes to stuff like the soaps and that, I think you can whack that on record for the missus and.
I wouldn't even record it. That's wasted space on the box. That is.
Well, yeah. As much as I agree with you, mate, we've got to speak for other people. keep the peace. That's the best thing I've learned. Keep the peace.
Brilliant. But supporting the McGanns on a Thursday is the Scirocco League. I bet you haven't driven one of these, Mikey, on GT Sport.
I actually can't say I have, mate. To be honest, honestly, I can't say I have.
258 brake horsepower, 10 1050 kilograms through the front axles.
Okay, so 30 horsepower than what I have in my actual car. Front wheel drive and about a ton and a half lighter. Nice. What could possibly go wrong?
Lots of wheel spin. Other than that, probably not a lot, to be honest, not with racing slicks on.
Oh, but it's not exactly Toyo tyres, is it?
No, well, it is soft, so they're pretty grippy. I mean, I like to think I run Michelin's on mine just because they're better, but other brands are available, shall we say?
Other tyre manufacturers are available at your nearest tyre dealer. Yeah.
But once again, good racing from the Strockers. They went to Red Bull Ring as they do, being effectively the support category. I haven't seen anything for Lobby 2 yet. I haven't managed to go through their replay. And Jack, who would normally stream on the Sunday, I don't know if he got a chance to. Obviously, coming close to Christmas, everyone's getting a little bit busier until the actual Christmas hits. But in terms of Lobby 1, it was the resident alien who was back on form, taking pole in the win. Ruddo was second, with Timmy in third, so Timmy reinstating his championship challenge after the disastrous Interlagos. But it's a really close-knit championship, is the Scirocco's. Not a lot between anyone, and it literally comes down to people's strengths at each circuit. I mean, Red Bull Ring is probably one of my weaker circuits on GT Sport, and it does show. But you just got it's one of those things that when you get to those circuits, you almost have to stick with it and try and almost damage limitate what you can.
Yeah, when it comes to, obviously, certain times you've got to make those decisions. It's very, you could see the same as like when we do the F1, George. If you get damaged, you've got to make those decisions. Do I keep going, or do I do this, do I do that? Or you try and juggle it, don't you? To be fair,
yeah.
You try to figure out what is.
And then Jeff absolutely messes you up.
Oh yeah. Hi, Jeff here. Hey, just please not now, Jeff. Please. No,
do you want to come in on this lap? I'm going to put you on the wrong time. You're not going to notice, but come in this lap.
I'm just waiting for the time. He says it. He goes, "Hi, Jeff here. The microwave's done. Come eat popcorn." Or something like that. But I just go for the pits, and some fella just gives you like a bag of like popcorn. Oh, nice one, mate. I'll eat that with a helmet on.
He just opens up your lid and just tips it in. Have a go on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic again from the Strockers, and as we say, like the BMWs, the Megans, still a fairly strong turnout. I think we tend to get a minimum of 10 in each lobby, so which is good to see.
It is a good turnout, that, mate.
You know, it's especially for a league that effectively supports another. It can be quite hard to get a supporting league. Obviously, I know the Monday Night Tour has worked quite nicely. That kind of handled itself quite well. But in terms of firing one from new up again, or trying to bring an existing one back in as a support, it can be quite hard, really, for some of the hosts to integrate it in and still keep the numbers.
Yeah, also you've got a lot to sort of weigh up and make sure this is right. That there's a lot going on behind the scenes that obviously a lot of people will know that go on. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them, isn't it, mate?
Yeah,
it's hard to explain,
I mean,
to be honest. I think one way of putting it.
Being one of the people that is behind the scenes, effectively behind the Thursday leagues, especially. It's massive. I mean, to host more than one league on a night, there's a lot to do, because the problem is you've got to then juggle two lists of entries on the night. You've got to juggle for example, the Megane list, the Scirocco list, check who's doing each one for each night. and make sure your settings are correct at the same time. There's a lot to juggle, but I think when it works, it's a really good thing. It works really nicely when it does work, and you get a fantastic set of races.
Yeah, so when you put all that work into it, and then you see the results. I'd imagine it is pretty worth it in the end. To be fair, mate.
Yeah, that feeling almost of that feeling of it's working and it's paying back. It's just like, yes, this is good. This is very, very good, and it rewards you even more when your league gets to the end of the season. You've had a fairly strong season, and then you start. I mean, before the end of this season, I can guarantee you all of the hosts now, from now, we'll be planning season 20 as we speak. Through Christmas, like Jack, I know if Jack ends up hosting a league again, he'll be planning it right now, if he is, or for any other the host. They're planning now.
Also, yeah.
They're planning now because we've obviously got our 2-week Christmas break, and it's the perfect time to sit down and go, right, what do I want to change? What do I want to add or take away? What do I want to set up? It's a fantastic time to just hit the nail on the head. And Kevin, who runs some ACC leagues, confirming that he's already planning season 20 as we speak. So, I think all the hosts deserve a shout out, whether they're actually creating the league or whether they're just hosting it for someone else's behalf. It's a fantastic thing to have, because otherwise it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work without any hosts.
It wouldn't, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the unsung heroes. One way of putting it. I know it sounds a bit over the top, but.
I mean, I know you help Mark with the Sunday BMW League. I know Jack helps me, and Bigsy helps me with the Thursday stuff. It's those guys in particular. I mean, a lot of recognition goes to the actual host of the league. For example, I take some recognition for the Thursdays because I run them effectively. In terms of that, Mark will take some credit for the BMWs, but it's those other hosts that don't, in my opinion, deserve a big mention, really, because without them, the primary host of that league wouldn't be able to function on 2 lobbies, or even if the second host is just there in case the main host can't make it that day. It's a massive help.
Yeah, it is really. It's a team effort. I am massive. Obviously, I'm not sure, but I'd imagine obviously most of the hosts who deal with more than one league, you're constantly communicating. Can you jump in for this league for me, or can one of you jump in for that? To see that sort of camaraderie is pretty good. It's really nice to see that, to be fair. So.
Yeah, so that's Thursday in terms of GT Sport. We also have, if I go along, the GT3, GT4 Mixed Series, which NXTGEN Ultra from Kevin hosts on PC this time. Are you getting a PC? I'm assuming you're not going to get a PC anytime soon, are you, Mikey? You looking at the PS5 instead?
I don't know, mate. This is the thing. I've had conversations with other mates about this, and I don't know. I like, because like on PC, I've played the likes of this just sounds bad, but like stuff like your car mechanic simulator. I really enjoy stuff like that, but I can't play PC games that long.
Yeah.
Like it just. I think the longest I've ever played one. The last time I played a long game was the likes of the old Dawn of War games. You give me that a day, I'll go through it in a day. You want to a game of that? I love it, but I can't play a lot of things constantly because I just get sort of bored of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's with PlayStations and Xboxes. it's more. I'm more comfortable with that because you can't really do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Really, it's that you take the disc out, put a new disc in, or obviously load
Yeah.
your digital copy up. Like don't wrong, I have considered the likes of a PS5, but at the moment I've got other commitments that I want to
Yeah.
put money to, and I just can't justify spending £500.
Well, I think especially at the moment when the launch
Well,
titles aren't exactly fantastic at the moment.
adequate for both, for both consoles, and you know, obviously seeing reviews for the like, I've even had first accounts from people who got even the new Xbox, it was just laggy, very slow, not responsive, and they've, for what I understand, they've returned the console now.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't put a lot of confidence in me. And at the end of the day, my PlayStation, I got that when Destiny came out. I was, how old was I? 18, 19. That was 7, 8 years ago. And she's still running.
Yeah.
Never broke down on me. Never overheated on me. Nothing. No issues. Obviously, the odd clean out and stuff I've had to do with it, but it's never done a system fault, nothing, never defragged any memory on me by accident. Everything works. Obviously, it's slow-ish for certain applications, but it's nearly a decade old, the system, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
but no, I think give me a year or two, ask me the same question, I'll be able to give you a more accurate answer. I think it's one way of putting it.
Obviously, the GT3, GT4 Mix series is on PC now. I know for a fact it's not the easiest game to play on PC. You've got to have a fairly decent graphics card, from what I've heard, to run it at a decent rate. But they went to Brands Hatch on Thursday, which, as you can see on the photo, that's where this photo is taken, is at Brands Hatch. This going through Graham Hill Bend, actually after Druids, which is scary, the fact that I know that from a picture. But Daniel Blomqvist won the race. This one was an endurance style race, so only one race. They tend to do an endurance race followed by like a sprint race, like a 2 sprint races, then a possibly, it's a mixture of endurance and sprint races basically. This one must be in the endurance. Daniel Blomqvist won, with Daniel Holmer in second, and in third was E. Uncle. But in terms of the championship, because obviously it's meant to be a mixed league, but I think everyone's chosen GT3. I think that's going to be changing next season. But again, Kevin will be probably putting more out near the end of season 19. Paul Scott is leading the way by a fair chunk. He's on 122 points, with Silver Arrow Shot on 91 and Daniel Blomqvist on 88. So it's a hefty lead that Scott's got going into the second half of the season, really.
Jeez.
But I guess there's a lot of racing still to be done in that league. I mean, looking at it, it looks like they've got effectively 6 races to go. 6, 7, no, 8 races. Sorry, they got 8 races to go in that league. So there's still a lot of points on offer.
But it's one of them. Can he keep the pressure on? That's the question, mate. Can he keep the pressure on?
I think Silver Arrow is going to have to keep just getting points against Scott, and keep finishing slightly higher, keep just nibbling away at it, and just seeing as the pressure increases whether he can open that opportunity as the season goes on. I mean, next race in the new year, this will be I want to say the 7th or 8th of January. I think it's the 7th of January. They head to Kailami in South Africa, and it's raining, so definitely a place where mistakes can be made, and they got 2 races, so if you make mistakes in both races, there's a lot of points you're going to lose.
Yeah, but obviously that can sway the championship. So it's just send it.
Just lick the stamp and send it, as they say.
Yeah. Just foot to the floor. If you're gonna lose the back end, I might as well make it look dead spectacular and just hope for the best. Just as the once legendary famous Mr. McRae said, "If in doubt, go flat out."
Yeah.
Until the police are behind you, and yeah.
Kevin saying the double sprint and the race nights are amazing. For the results are mixed on a double sprint race, and I'm assuming that's because obviously I think they do quite small qualifying sessions for both races. So obviously, let's say one mistake in a sprint race is very hard to get that back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses throughout the season. I think if Silver Arrow Shot can start nipping points out of Paul Scott, it could get very, very tasty indeed.
Could be quite interesting.
But,
look forward to seeing what that comes out at, mate.
Yeah. We move on to Friday, and we'll start off with the Virtual Focus Cup on GT Sports. They went to Red Bull Ring wet. So a lot of Red Bull Ring being shown this week in terms of the leagues.
I was going to say, did everyone turn off the Red Bull Ring this week? Did we?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what track did the No, the BMWs didn't. That was a different track.
We were in Belgium, yeah. We obviously missed the train.
Well, weirdly enough, the McGanns, Sirocco's, and the Focus, that wasn't planned that they all went to Red Bull Ring, weirdly enough. It's just how it kind of fell into place. But it's quite cool, really, because obviously the Thursday leagues were dry and the Friday ones were wet, so it's almost like it simulated the weather changed on the next day. Everyone was in the paddock. It was quite funny, really. It's a really weird coincidence, but quite a cool one at the same time in terms of a virtual sim thing. Effectively, you got 3 different leagues in the paddock. 2 were raced on one day, 1 the next, and it was different weather.
Yeah. So basically, the best way to look at it is a bunch of cars were coming out the garage, going onto the truck as the other trucks were coming in, going, right, we'll have this garage space.
I think they probably all just went and used the back paddock and used the garages as and when.
Yeah. Little bussy van, like outside, you know, the nice little like brews and stuff that burn your gob off and you can't taste anything for the next 3-4 hours.
But in terms of the racing, my God, was it good! It was the top 2, Hirakram and P. Gibb. So Hirakram took pole position. Not by a lot, and it was quite... Hirakram was relieved to take that pole position as well, I can tell you now, because P. Gibb in practice was looking very, very quick. Very, very quick in practice. And Hirakram was slightly worried that he was going to get bested by P. Gibb, who hasn't had the best of seasons. I say that, actually in the Focus he's done quite well. He's just missed Brands Hatch Indy, which is with a big shame because it's one of his stronger circuits. And Piggy just saying the first lap in the wet after 2 dry races was a shock to the system. Yeah, it was like ice. It was like driving on ice out there. It was funny to watch, don't get me wrong. From my point of view, commentating, it was absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's like ice skate.
Yeah. But
when you're the one in the seat, like...
yeah.
No.
But Piggy looked very quick in practice, and Hirakram just about nicked the pole position time. But P. Gibb got the better start and led for a long time, fending off Hirakram. And it was one corner that, and I kind of have picked up why he lost the place to Hirakram, which was a shame because he defended beautifully all throughout the race. I think it was up to about the 13-14 minute mark of the race He's come through, you know, in Red Bull Ring, you've got that middle loop where it's like long left, then long left, flick, flat right in the middle.
So what track's this again? Sorry.
The Red Bull Ring, or A1 Ring as you might know it as.
Okay, so we're coming off.
So you come through turn 3, that hairpin right at the top of the circuit.
Yeah.
Up over the crest.
Down the hill, don't you?
Down the hill, hairpin right.
Yeah.
Then you keep going right, and then you've got that long left that then transitions to another one. Then it goes flat right before you go towards the penultimate corner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All it was through that second left, P. Gibb just didn't quite have the right line into it. It was almost like he went a bit too tight. Kind of understeered out wide, and then it made him understeer wide through the flat right as well, because being on the wet, you don't have a lot of grip. And it's probably what cost him there, because because of that he didn't have the same momentum. And in a focus, it's that's about 250 brake horsepower. Momentum's quite key, especially in the wet. And it's where he lost it. It was a big shame, because he drove so well, and unfortunately he just couldn't quite stick with Hirakram, and Hirakram got about 2 seconds up the road. But it was a commendable effort. But yeah, Hirakram won it, faster lap as well. P. Gibb second, Philo third. Yeah, it was like I say, D. Whitehouse was fourth, Snav in fifth. He had a good race in difficult conditions. It was interesting to see how people went in the difficult conditions. So again, another fantastic race, and again all commentated on right to the end.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I do like about certain leagues is obviously the weather conditions. You can't predict it. It's like us with the F1 last week. Everyone was doing practice. I'll tell you, like, I know me and Matt Lyon and Grisby were doing practice in the dry round, Zandvoort. I'm like, yeah, we could have this in the bag, this, that and the other. Got to practice, yeah, it was alright. That's good, I like that. Got into qualifying, that wasn't too bad, yeah. Get into the race, pouring now.
Do you not check the weather forecast?
Well, Mike did tell me, and me and Matty have got a thing for not listening to each other. So,
as teammates do.
Oh yeah, obviously great communication skills from the simpletons. But no, I generally do remember Matty saying, "You do realise it's going to rain." I was like, "Yeah, it won't be long." Half an hour later, I'm still sat there in the rain,
soaking wet.
Driving. So all I heard was, "I told you." I'm not. It's just like, oh god. But no, it is good to see different weather conditions taking effect.
And as another point as well to this is, I've just seen a comment from P. Gibb in the chat. Hirakram's the quickest driver in next gen for GT Sport right now. Fantastically quick, but he wants to be challenged, and he actually helps the other drivers out. He's just saying, he had a good fight, held on to Hirakram's bumper to P. Gibb. Then he lost a bit of time, which meant Hirakram got away, and Hirakram offered some advice to P. Gibb afterwards to help him improve on getting the results, And as we said before, having that family type of vibe, everyone offers a bit of advice as and when they can, and it's fantastic, and it helps everyone get quicker, and it makes these leagues even more competitive, which is exactly what you want in terms of a league race.
Yeah, I think at the same time, don't you agree? It's nice to see people, in most leagues, people are like, right, I've got an iron fist on that, but it's nice to see someone going, fair enough, I might have won, but you want to do this, you could do this is a good way of getting food to this, this is a good bit of advice, it obviously, like you said, it makes it a lot more competitive, and if anything, at the end of the day, it makes it more enjoyable for everyone taking part.
it's one of the things, especially coming from someone who is one of the quickest drivers in GT Sport. You know, I know Hero Cram got into like the top 16 of a Mazda event in GT Sport in the world, which is a fantastic sight to see. You know, he could easily just go, "Oh, I'm bossing this league. I'm going to keep everything to myself and keep driving away." But it's good to see that the top guys want to have that challenge and want to have a fight all the way to the end. Because obviously for them, sometimes for most drivers, even though they win a lot, they want to be challenged for that win. They want to earn it as well. They don't just want to turn and go, well, I just won because I'm faster than everyone, and that's that.
Yeah, you want that competitive sort of. It's human. It's sort of like human nature, isn't it? You're that competitive. You know, everyone doesn't mind something that's easy, but then sometimes it's even better if it's competitive or.
Yeah,
It really helps
I
you
think it's that
where you've gone wrong. Future.
I think it's also that feeling of, you know, if someone's there challenging every step of the way, you almost feel like you earned that title. You didn't just get it. You've absolutely earned that because someone was on your tail every step of the way. You had that pressure. You've earned the right to be called the champion of that league. You know, and I think it's a better feeling than just winning it because you are who you are. You know, and you kept all your secrets to yourself. To me, I think it'd be a better feeling to win on absolute brute force and merit. So,
yeah, obviously, if it's thing is, I prefer racing that is very close to save racing that, you know, 20, 30 seconds down the road. Like, I'd get bored of that. I think one of the only races I won, I think, to be fair, at one point I was like 40 odd seconds ahead. And, you know, obviously, your first time you win, you're on pole and stuff and you're winning. You just try your best to keep you to yourself. But obviously, I wish back then I'd sort of helped other drivers that might have been struggling at the same time. So kudos to Herocram, to be fair.
No, it's good to see that type of stuff. But from the Focus League, obviously Herocram leading the way in that league with D Whitehouse in second, joint with P Gibb at the moment. Philo, who has missed 2 rounds, currently sits in fourth with a joint fifth between Bert Huben and Logan Greenway. But it's all very tight. I suspect you're having a look as well, Mikey. It's all very tight. I mean, I know Herocram's pulling away massively. I mean, he's got nearly double the points of anyone at the moment. But from second down to, I don't know, where's that? That's about 11th. There's only about 33 points, which sounds like a lot, but with 5 races still to go, it's very, very tight still for second place right now.
Yeah, all to play for, mate.
Moving on, ACC, we go back to that. I mean, it's great you were talking ACC so much, because especially since the demise of the original Assetto Corsa, which kind of like died off. Quite a harsh death, really. We got a lot of ACC leagues this season, but the GT4 World Series on PS4, they went to, lo and behold, Misano for round number 5. So obviously supporting the GT3 for this week, for that week there. And I was speaking about, obviously we had Kevin on a couple of weeks ago. He's basically saying it's a fantastic mix of cars in the GT4, and none of them really have a pace advantage.
Well, I think that makes it even very, competitive, but it's unpredictable. Do you know what I mean? It's anyone's, time to shine.
Yeah, and it's good because obviously these sort of classes where you've got all these different cars, it can be very easy. I mean, GT Sport is an absolute prime example with the Group 4 league, with any Group 4 league that allows any car. You can guarantee everyone's going to be in a front-wheel drive car, whether it be a TT, a Scirocco, or a front-wheel drive Megane, because they are, with BOP on, they are the class of the field. There is no doubt about it. They are the fastest car. You won't get anything else. Whereas when you've got a really nice mix, it's really good to show that the whole class can be used. It doesn't matter which car you're in. You've got the chance of winning.
It is good. That sort of thing. It should build anticipation. Like I said, we said before about the other leagues so far. No one knows who could take it.
No.
Like, this season's quite competitive in all these leagues, and that's really good to see. It's like I said before. Like, I'd rather watch a league where everyone has their 2p in the hat.
Yeah.
Sort of like the end of the 2010 season of F1. No one knew who was going to win it. Anyone could have won it out of 4 drivers. I generally reckon something like that spices everything up, and it makes it really interesting. To sort of be a part of.
Yeah. And it was Lollipop who took the win at Misano for the GT4 series, with Bean Flicker in second and Slayer 72 third. And I'm pretty certain all 3 of those are in 3 different cars for good measure, which again kind of proves our point in that respect. But Beam Flicker with a slim advantage of only 7 points to Slayer, who himself only has 4 points to Lollipop and Zlatan in third and fourth. So, as we say, very, very tight. Silver Carter's only on 69, so he's only a further 4. Then you have that slightly bigger gap to Ultra, but those top 5, it's still anyone's game in that respect. I mean, what is that? That's what, 15 points between the top 5?
If that, to be honest.
No, it definitely is 15.
Fair enough.
I hope I know. I'm an accountant. I kind of have to do this for a living, adding up numbers and stuff.
Yeah, it goes over my head, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, effectively, if Silver Carter was to finish third and the guys ahead of him didn't finish, got 0, he would be joint first at the moment. So basically a third place at the moment separates the top 5, which is insanely close.
That is actually mad.
Again, fantastic to see. Absolutely fantastic to see. And I know Kevin, obviously I think it's Stuart Packham's league, assisted by Kevin, because I know Kevin's a whiz at the moment on the servers, because obviously you have to rent them, which is the only downside to ACC for league racing. But yeah, you got to effectively, a bit like iRacing, got to rent the server. I know it's not exactly the cheapest thing on the planet, but if the racing's that good, it's worth almost every penny at times, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah. It'd be a shame if you bought it and no one barely turns up. You know what I mean? Which, thankfully, we don't have that issue at next year.
Yeah.
There's always quite a few people that will, obviously turn up, obviously have a laugh.
But they head to Nürburgring when we come back off the break, so that's going to be a good race.
Is it GP or Nordschleife?
No, it's only the GP.
They'll be fine then.
Yeah, it's because obviously the game was originally the official Blank Pan GT endurance game. Originally, yeah. Then obviously Blank Pan. I don't think it's no longer the Blank Pan series anymore. I don't think so. In real life, but yeah. So they use in their like sprint series, and that they use the Nürburgring GP loop, but I think it's the one with the fast chicane, not the proper bus stop one. if you know what I mean. So I see, because there's two
Yeah.
chicanes. I think they use the slightly faster one. I believe. But there's
I think it is.
there's one more league on the Friday, which is the Porsche PMR Cup. Now I think we're kind of working a week behind at the moment, so we've got the results from Daytona Road Course. I believe we're just waiting on the results for Snetterton 300. So we'll quickly go through those. Let's go on to here when it loads. Daytona Road Course, it was, let's scroll down a little bit, it was Chaz Cleland who took the race 1 victory, followed by Will Orton in second and David Ward in third. David Ward then took the victory of race 2 with Matt Allen in second, and Lee Horn took his is that his first podium of the season in the Porsches, which is fantastic to see. Interesting thing, Will Orton didn't score in race 2, but he still has the lead of the the Porsche Cup class. He's on 126 points to Matt Allen's 101. David Ward currently has 89. Josh Malin on 77. That's your top 4. Dave Newsham, and I believe, yes, that is the touring car, Dave Newsham, on 71 points in 5th place, which is good to see. Those professional drivers racing this league is a fantastic thing for the community and for the drivers themselves. I think Bobby Thompson's also in it. It's a fantastic thing because the drivers can learn from the professionals on what is effectively classified as a simulator racing game.
Yeah, obviously it gives everyone that sort of chance, doesn't it? Or like more of a open battleground sort of thing. Like no one's obviously going to be different, but it's also nice to see that sort of competitiveness. So. Obviously, as a perspective, for other people to build, see where they can make seconds and try and limit losses throughout the season. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, they headed to Snetterton the last Friday, a few days ago. When they come back from the Christmas break, they go to Bathurst. So that's going to be a tough old race in those cars, but an exciting one.
I love Bathurst, mate. I just love the track in general. It's one of those tracks that I think it's up there in probably the top 10, in my opinion, top 10 tracks in the world. Bathurst, it's hard. If you go wrong, it's you'll know about it, but it is a fun sort of track to go around on.
When you get it right, it's a great feeling. When you get it wrong, it goes very wrong. But yeah, that's all the Friday stuff covered. We're going to Sunday. Mikey, do you want to talk about the BMW M4 League?
Yes. Just get it up. Sorry.
You don't know the Lobby 1 result yet, do you?
I do not know.
I'll quickly run through that. Lobby 1 wise, we had TNR Philo, who won that lobby with P1 Don in second and Luke Doherty in third. That's your top 3. Obviously, this league has Fast Star goodies as a prize, and I believe there's also extra prizes for, I think, an overtake of the season, courtesy of Freddie Hewitt.
Yes, obviously we were actually at Spa in Belgium. Obviously quite, Lobby 2 was quite competitive. Obviously my internet was held for one race before it decided to give up the ghost. But GTP Rickwerk got top step on the podium. So D10 Piper and Gino Dima quite close behind. But yeah, to be fair, there's a few lads in there quite fast. I think it was at one. I think it was second, third lap. I think at one point, obviously, the bottom three of us, it's quite competitive. But I think it's once you get to the top five, they're just gone, mate. Like, even I've come to realise that, I'm not catching these guys. Like, I think it was the fastest lap we had on for quali, which is Rick at WRX. Sorry, 2 minute 26.4.
Yeah.
Round Spa, and there was Gino, which was a second, 1.7 seconds lower. I thought I was doing it quick, and then you look at the times that these guys are throwing out. Yeah, I felt a bit embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie. Like 6 seconds. I was like.
But I think it's one of those things. Obviously, the guys in Lobby 2 have obviously joined after almost like after the start of the actual season, so they kind of had to go into that lobby to give them a fighting chance for a season. So I get the feeling that next season, if they return, you're going to get this rebalancing of leagues like we do in like the Megans. The lobbies are looked at and you just go, he's a bit too quick, or he's won that lobby, so he's going to get promoted up. You can rebalance it, and that way the next season after, because it's a really hard thing to do to have a one lobby league to begin with, then turn into two. It's very hard to keep everyone happy because you're going to have some lobby 1 pace in that second lobby, but it's almost unfair to put them in that lobby because they're at a massive disadvantage.
But then at the same time, you can't just expect to throw them. You can't expect them just to get running straight away. There has to be some sort of leeway. Exactly. But to be fair to the lads, obviously it was only the 2 races. Once again, great bit of racing from the lads. Barely any incidents. Obviously, quite a bit of racing, as always, in the lobby too, for what I've seen. But obviously, once again, I mean, it was just really close racing, to be fair. Once again, Rick WRX just smashed quickest, fastest lap in the second race. Literally half a second faster than his quali time. You bear in mind, he was at the back of the pack and went on to win it. He is really quick, this guy. Like, I think I've been 10 seconds up the road at one point.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
I was doing alright in quali, and he literally just comes steamrolling past me. I was like,
To be fair, I have heard his name, and I'm pretty certain I've heard his name because he is a pretty quick character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, where are you two next? Sardinia Sea, is it?
We are actually going to be. Oh god, just double check.
I believe it's Sardinia Sea.
That will be correct, sir. Sardinia.
Very quick circuit, that Sardinia Sea. Probably the quickest variant of it.
Yes, I'm probably have to put some practice into that one, mate, because I don't think I've actually ever raced around there.
To be fair, mate, I've only raced around that layout once in reverse.
Oh, great! Just remind me what is the opposite way round, and then I can work from there.
But no, that should be an interesting race because that is one of those circuits that you make one mistake, and I mean you get punished on normal circuits, but around there you get double punishment because of how quick it is. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes on when we return. The final league on a Sunday, before you go for a quick recap on the Monday due to a recent post that I know Mr. Horn will appreciate because he's written a little bit of a write-up for us. The R Factor 2 European Touring Car Series. brand new game for this season on Factor 2. Obviously, it's had a bit of a rough start, and I think they've ended up having to go to a private rented server to get it up and running, because I believe the public style ones kind of conked out on them their first couple of weeks due to an update, which is a bit of a shame. But from what I've heard from Kevin, again, fantastic racing. 2 races. Race 1 qualifying before it, race 2 reverse grid. And you may have noticed, Mikey, the top 3 for both races were exactly the same.
Oh yeah, they were.
So Arnaud Channonnet got a double victory. Bear in mind, race 2 he had to come from the back of the pack to get that victory. I believe he might be in a Golf, I believe. Kenneth Andreasen picked up 2 second places, and I know Kenneth because I've raced with Kenneth on console. He moved over to PC. He's technically one of my teammates. He's one of my teammates as well as Kenneth, so I get a bit of backstory on what happens in the races a little bit. Apparently he had a great race with the RWC boys of Channonnet and Haddington. Obviously Haddington picking up 2 third places. But Andreasen only has a 2-point gap going into the next round. They're only doing 8 rounds this season because they had their troubles to begin with. A 2-point lead. 105 points plays 103. Then you got Chris Needham on 88 with Haddington on 87. Then a slightly bigger jump to 66 for Alex Risley. Then it's Kevin Smith, Ollie Page in 17th, having a good run at the moment, only 4 points away from Risley. Kieran Williams, Matthew Williams, Bob Bartle rounds us out on the top 10. But they went to Manicourt, which is a fantastic circuit and very underused in games nowadays.
I'm not gonna lie, Joe, I've never heard of it.
You've never... What, Manicourt, the circuit that used to host the French GP in F1?
I can't say I have, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
You'll have to.
Is this where me and you are gonna have to have a long conversation, is it?
Well, I'll just send you a video clip of it later, and you know.
Oh, we did. I think is it. They've still got the finish straight, haven't they? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know what you're thinking, mate, because they go to Paul Ricard nowadays, which is a completely different place.
No, but yeah, I think Project Cars actually had it. And like
no, not Manicourt.
Finished. No, oh, okay.
No, it was on Toka Race Driver 1. If you ever had that. I think you've actually brought out your mic.
Yeah, I have by accident, so I apologise. No, mate, I never had Toka or anything when I was younger.
But I'll have to send you some footage later. Manicourt, fantastic circuit, very underused. Very, very underused. Tricky circuit as well. It's not very wide. Proper old school circuit. If you clip the edge of the circuit, you're onto grass. So I like those old school type of circuits. But you might like this one, Mikey, because next when we come back from the break, they're heading to the fastest circuit in the United Kingdom.
Is it Alton Park?
No, that's not the fastest circuit in the United Kingdom, I'm afraid.
That was sarcasm, but
I know.
Yeah. Oh well, a man can try.
To be fair, they have done Alton Park. That was round 1. So
Thruxton.
They are
Thruxton, mate.
They are hiding Thruxton, and I kid you not, I really want to drive Thruxton on a game. And it's one of those circuits that isn't on very many games, but it's fantastic to see it on our Factor 2.
It's one of them with the likes of, like, I'd love to be able to drive some of these tracks in real life. You know, I've been obviously Donington with Jack many moons ago, and I've been Alton Park, with other people. But I want to next 2-3 years. I want to at least watch every British touring car race at every circuit.
I've done Thruxton. I've watched Thruxton. It's okay, but the biggest problem is that it's a very limited viewing area for Thruxton, because you can either sit at the chicane or sit at the complex. You can't go any further around the circuit. You can't go sit on Church. You can't go sit on, like, I think it's Sunny In, Sunny Out. Very, very, very limited. I mean, granted, when we went up, we went the year that Plato went off at the chicane, which was quite funny. You got to see that live, but
nice.
yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one, because obviously I know Kenneth Andreassen's in a Subaru Levorg, which is a big car really to drive compared to like the Golf.
Ironically, the car that Ash won his first championship in.
He did, yeah. So it's going to be an intriguing one to see how it all fares, but a big fight on for the championship there. So it's going to be fantastic. The last 5 rounds is going to be very beady-eyed, and a lot of attention probably being paid to it because of how close that is and how it could end up. I mean, I think that's going to go down to a final round, final race, as the British touring cars has done on many occasions over the past 5-6 years.
Yeah, that's what I like though a lot. Racing like that. Like past no offense to Mercedes or anything. Past few years in the F1, you know by a certain point it's practically impossible. For certain people to always doing a massive upset or whatever. But with the British touring cars, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think that's the nice thing of going and watching the touring cars. It's not just one race series. You're watching multiple. You obviously the Porsche Cup, Ginettas, Ginetta Juniors. You've got all sorts, mate. Literally, as I imagine like, it's obviously it's an all-day thing, but there's always something to watch. Do you know what I mean? It's always really interesting. I think that's what I do like about events like that. To be fair, so like obviously back onto the league. Sorry, I'm going off a bit again. But no, that is like I've heard a bit about the game, but obviously mainly from Jack. Jack does tell me quite a bit when it comes to these updated games and stuff, and I do try and keep
in the loop.
I do try and keep within the loop, but I don't know because I know with Race Factor it's more of just a PC game.
PC only, yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously the minute you say, "Oh, it's only PC," I lose interest straight away. You see, it's
I think it can be quite hard to keep interest in games that you just can't play, because for example, like with R-Factor 2, with R-Factor 2, obviously, don't get me wrong, it's a great game from what I've heard, but obviously if you can't play it, I mean, there's no point keeping up with the updates that keep coming with it, because you're not going to play them for in your eyes the foreseeable near future.
So why waste your time with it?
Yeah, it's one of those things that when you're thinking about getting a PC, for example, or if you're looking at a PlayStation, you don't have a PlayStation, you're looking at games for that and that sort of thing. Once you start thinking about getting one, then you start getting more interested in it, because you can see what you can, if you get it, this is what you can play on it. This is everything that's arrived in the last 3 months. So I think it's going to be a growing side of next gen. I think the PC, it's going to be a growing side, but ultimately the console is here to stay in next gen, and I think they're going to strike a really nice balance between the two.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. I look forward to seeing obviously more of the end result. Because it's only in its infancy, if I'm correct in saying that.
I think it's only third season of PC leagues.
It's relatively a new thing, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 4. I think there's 4. There's now 4 PC leagues currently in next gen for this season. We started off with 1 in terms of the WTCR league. actually, and the PMR and the PMRE series that was held. Then it went down to 1 for season 18, and now it's boosted up to 4 for this season.
Obviously, it is the most we've had.
Yeah.
Obviously, once again, that's kudos to the lads that do make this possible. In their own time, sorting this out, and obviously, like you said, when it comes to the likes of servers, they're not exactly cheap. But
no,
if there's racing and it's good and it's enjoyable, it's worth it in the end.
No, exactly. It's as long as everyone enjoys it, that's the main thing. Obviously, there's no point doing it if no one enjoys it, is there? So
it's a fair point, mate. Yeah.
But so that's pretty much everything I say. We're going to just quickly hop back a little bit because I know Mr. Lee Horn, who hosts the WTCR League on Race Room PC, has done a post today with some updated standings. So we'll just recap you guys on that one. They visited Autodrom Most. Let me just get the picture up on for you. There they are. They visited Autodrom Most. Again, 3 races like British touring cars. Pole position went to Jonas Lindberg, who also took the first race win, with William Foyle in second, Ben Walker third. Lee Horn then got the victory in race 2 with Zero Gurunian in second, Fraser Rostens third. Ben Walker then finished in first place for the race 3, so 3 different winners on the night. Arnaud Channonnet picked up a podium on second place, and Eunice Carbid in third. So I'm looking at that, and all I'm seeing is only one person took 2 podiums on that night, which was Ben Walker, which is a fantastic sight to see. So, 8 different people on the podium during the night. Cracking effort.
Happy days.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get much more competitive than that, can you? 8 different people on the podium.
You can't.
Well, you can. You have 9 different people on the podium, but not quite achieved this time.
I think the most I've ever witnessed is probably 5 in one. Obviously in one sort of league. But geez, that was many moons ago.
Yeah.
But it's just madness, mate. I think how so many people can
pick up a podium.
Yeah, and it's just, and then you're sitting there like, how can I do this? But it looked like, that's the thing, like, baffling. It looks so easy, and then you get into it, and then you become committed to it, and then if you've done the littlest mistake, you can be so angry. It's just like, I've had times where I've had a bad race, and obviously I've gone down to take a drink or whatever, and obviously I've had, how's it going or whatever, and it's just sort of like, I'll talk to you later. I'm on the mood. It's like a weird, I feel like, I won't lie, I don't take it too serious. You get a bit wound up if you put a bit of time in over the week, and it doesn't work. But then, if you don't put any time into it, sometimes you can't be competitive, can you?
No. But first time they went to Autodrom Most for that league, so fantastic to see that it was very competitive. In terms of the championship, Ben Walker is leading the way on 333 points. Gurunian is on 323, so only 10 points between the 2 leaders. Lee Horn on 308, William Foyle 300, Fraser Rostens 245, Jeff Perkis 237, Jonas Lindberg 212, Jamie Dory 203, Arnaldo Guedes on 182, Arnaud Channonnet on 173. That's your top 10. 11th to 20th is well below on 163, Agan 150, Addy 136, Jacobson on 131, Roy Plummer 127, Neil Crave on 118, Jürgen Madsby Pedersen on 91, Chris Needham 76, Albin Kilgren 65, Alex Ward 60. It continues on to Eunice Carbid 46, Stephen de Grevelier on 43, Jason Haddington at 34, Emil Holmberg on 33, Jack Taylor at 21, Per and Andre Stell on 18, Ludwig Nielsen 7, and Matt Emmons on 6 in 28th position. So 28 registered drivers for that league.
Jesus.
As you can tell, it was a bit of a mouthful to get through all of that in one breath. But
breathe. I'm brief.
But yeah, fantastic league, and obviously if you do want to get involved in that, as with any league in Next Gen, do obviously contact us and get involved, because we're always welcoming drivers of all skill levels.
All abilities, yeah.
We can accommodate you all. But that's everything we need to run through in terms of leagues for this week. So I think we're just on to a few general bits and bobs to talk about.
Yeah, why not?
I'll let you start, because you brought up something about with McLaren when we were talking beforehand.
Oh. Yes, obviously, as people will know of the F1, Carlos Sainz has left McLaren. Obviously, it's old news now, but has gone over to Ferrari, and in a way of saying goodbye, McLaren have sent like a little message, sort of, all in Italian, to Ferrari, basically saying, we've nurtured him, we've sort of helped him grow, look after him. And I think that's quite nice, but it's at the same time it's showing a sign of respect to Ferrari. You know,
Yeah.
obviously admitting it's the oldest, fiercest rival, but in that way they respect them, as they know obviously Ferrari respect McLaren. Obviously both of the histories pretty much entwined, you know.
Yeah. 1976 for starters.
Well, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's, well, since '66, Enzo focused solely on F1 more than Le Mans. Because after Ford beat him, he didn't win it after that. It was the last time was 1965. They won Le Mans.
Yeah, because then Porsche won 4 straight from 66 to 69.
Yeah, Ford 66, 68, 69.
And then someone else won it.
Yeah, it's jumped about a bit, and then obviously the reason rotaries aren't allowed now. Mazda in the 90s with the 737, if I remember correctly.
787B.
Oh, so, yeah. It was more economical than any of the other cars. And like literally, I think the only thing they had to consider changing was one of the rotors, or something. But I think they found a way around it. Basically, the apex seals had gone on it. Apparently, that's just. So I'm not sure if that's true, but they somehow managed to get that car still going to the very end. Which, to be honest, back then I think showed how reliable rotary engines can actually be, which was actually quite interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah, go on, George,
Let's just say Kevin's just messaged saying, what's our thoughts on Audi returning to endurance racing? I'm assuming in the LMP category. I haven't actually seen this news.
Oh
but,
no! I've seen that Volkswagen. Sorry, George. Volkswagen have turned around and say they are leaving motorsport, competitive motorsport, to do with the internal combustion engine, but focus more on Formula E.
Yeah.
Which to be fair is quite understandable. As people may remember, they were
diesel.
involved in a bit of a scandal, but we won't go into that. Yeah, there's that. But then I was also looking into it, and they went, "Oh, Audi's joining." I was thinking, the Volkswagen Group have turned around and said they're pulling out. But obviously, once you look into it more, it's the Volkswagen brand in general, not the group. Because obviously the group, for those who don't know, consists of Audi, Skoda, Ducati,
Seat.
Lamborghini, obviously Audi, Vidal,
Seat. Seat, Porsche.
Porsche. Yeah, it's. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a massive conglomerate of obviously. I think it's the biggest motor.
I think it's the biggest motor. Although saying that,
motor
PSA aren't far away anymore, are they? Because they've also now got the General Motors lot, effectively.
Well, yeah, they've got Opel, Vauxhall,
Chevrolet. Chevy was part of GM.
No, so Chevy, that's still under GM.
Is it?
Yeah, they only got Opel and Vauxhall. Yeah. Obviously, you've got Peugeot, Citroen.
Yeah,
I always get the groups mixed up with Nissan and stuff. But don't forget, you've also got the Renault, the Renault group. So obviously, you've got Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Subaru. Believe it, yeah, because I think it's one thing I've seen as well is. Well, because I was thinking about it the other day, is why don't the likes of obviously Mitsubishi make really exciting cars anymore? But then I looked into it and I thought, well, because all these quotas that countries are saying in regards to the environment and all that palaver, you've got certain things. So, say if you make, I think they was talking about on Top Gear many years ago. If you make if you make like a V8 or something, you've got to make so many of this engine. To sort of equal that out, which I still don't really get what the point in that is. But okay.
But anyway, back to this question. What are your thoughts on Audi doing the endurance? If it's the LMP, I think it's good because someone needs to challenge Toyota again. They're getting away with it.
Yeah, because no offense to Porsche. They're not. They had the time years ago, and obviously Toyota, unluckily a couple of years ago, when they first come back to it, had an engine failure. But yeah, if Audi can get to grips with where Porsche have gone wrong, that could be quite competitive, mate. It'll be nice to see that.
It needs someone to battle Toyota, because the thing is that you've got the other LMP1 style cars, but without any because they got no manufacturer back, and they're never going to be as quick as a manufacturer team. So it would be nice to have some sort of challenger for Toyota. But moving on, because I know conscious of time. So obviously McLaren had their message, which is fantastic to see, and quite funny actually to see some of the McLaren lot having to try and speak Italian. That was quite amusing.
Yeah, especially Zach Brown.
Yeah.
Like, thickest young accent.
Lando at the start as well.
Yeah, tries best not to laugh.
But another obviously F1 news, again, it's slightly old news now really, because it was breaking about 3-4 days ago, but Sergio Perez has now got a drive with Red Bull at the expense of Alex Albon, which I think is absolutely the right idea from Christian Horner and Helmut Marko, to get that Red Bull to actually challenge the Mercs for a change. I don't know if it's quite going to work, but it's going to be harder for Mercedes, because Max Verstappen at least now has a rear gunner. And possibly the other way round at the same time.
Yeah, but it's competitive at the same. No disrespect to Alex Albon. He just wasn't.
He wasn't
as fast. He was good. Don't get me wrong. He's got the talent.
What I was surprised at was that when I heard Tsunoda got put into AlphaTauri, what I was expecting was Perez to go to Red Bull, but for Albon to go and pair up with Gasly at AlphaTauri, a bit like they'd done to Gasly a year ago, was that they put him back into the junior team to get more experience and more confidence. I was expecting that to happen. I wasn't expecting Tsunoda to come up from F2 into F1.
Yeah.
But
then again, this is F1 and everything is so unpredictable.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it silly season. But yes, that's going to be an interesting one to find out. I think Perez is going to win a few more than one races next season. It'll be good to see. But the other thing I think we've got on our notes for the final thing for the night Sicily Motorsports, obviously, if you don't know them, the British touring car team, run Adam Morgan and Jack Butel. If you follow the British touring cars over the last few seasons, also you'd have noticed they run a front-wheel drive Mercedes A-Class touring car. Brands Hatch, slightly earlier this year, was the last running they were going to have in their Mercedes. Again, this is quite old news now, but obviously because the British touring car news isn't spread over mainstream news places, shall I say, it tends to stick within the British touring car website and very niche. I say niche news points. Would that be a right way to put it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You know, it doesn't get out to really mainstream, but they have gone and bought themselves a couple of newer shape BMW M3 series touring cars. So they're going from front to rear wheel drive. I got a feeling they might be sticking with the same lineup. I don't know for certain, but I think Adam Morgan's staying with the team for definite. So that's going to be interesting, because the only thing rear wheel drive that Adam Morgan's driven is a GT4 Mercedes. Otherwise, he's driven a front wheel drive Avensis touring car and a front wheel drive Mercedes. So could be a steep learning curve for them next year.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the big things with obviously the touring cars, because a lot of them are independent. You know, they can bounce about different cars. You know, it is good to see that in certain cars on the grid. And, like obviously, like this year at Vauxhall, Toyota, Infinity, BMW. Like,
Let's see if I can list them down a minute.
Big ones. Yeah. There.
BMW, Honda, Toyota.
Yeah.
She had Mercedes from the A-Class. Infinity,
BMW,
VW. There was a few Passats on the grid.
Yeah.
There was a few Audis as well.
Have we had Audi?
Yeah. Well, I've just written it down.
No, I'm just crossing off on my hand. You see.
Hyundai. Hyundai got an entry this season in terms of the Accelerate team, which done very well, and I believe they paired up with another team, which is good to see. And next season as well, we're going to have a brand new car from the team Hardcamp in terms of the Cupra.
Do you know what would be nice to see us see it?
But it's not actually a Seat. It's genuinely it's a Cupra. It's a Cupra layout.
Yeah, it's a separate identity now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Alpine. The two different.
It's basically, I think VW have just gone. We've got the Seat because they've got the FR versions of the road cars, which back in the day used to be the fast versions. You know, you'd buy a Leon FR because it was the quicker version. Now it's not quicker at all. It's the same car with a slightly upgraded interior. You know what I mean? It's just a nicer, more luxurious version. I think the Cupra is kind of like the stamp of this is how a Seat could be. You know, this is what we could do, but aren't going to give you.
It's
but
that.
It looks. I don't know if you've seen the picture of the car, Mike, for next year, but it looks nuts, and I can't wait to see it in action.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the general Cupra. Normal just car that the public could buy. And to be honest with you, I've never really been a big fan, but it actually does look quite nice. And being someone who loves Japanese cars, looking at that, I think could consider it when the budget looks alright. But yeah.
But I think that's everything we've got to talk about for tonight. Obviously, I think you and Jack are going to be discussing them. There may be something in the works for either the next week or the week after. In terms of, I think we might potentially do a quiz, but I think we're going to be talking about it. Yeah, the Christmas special version. But all information we'll be putting out on the NXTGEN page anyway. So, but I think we won't speak to anyone until after Christmas. So I think it's all fair to say everyone to have a good Christmas. I think.
Yeah, obviously, with the current obviously the current conditions that we're all currently living under, stay safe. Obviously, adhere to your local tier system. Obviously, I'm not sure what tier it was. From what I know, obviously the likes of Merseyside, bits of Cheshire are tier 2. Obviously, I know mainly towards the likes of London and the southwest, with tier 4. Obviously, certain parts of the country have got different tiers, like Scotland and Wales. They've got a completely different setup, but all I can really say is have a lovely Christmas. You stay safe with your families, and just we look forward to obviously hearing from you, and obviously going into 2021 with the throttle pressed to the floor, as they say.
Yeah, I think that's well put. But yeah, so Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you have a good one, good New Year, and we'll be back for more Turbo Tuesday in the coming weeks. But for myself and Mikey, good night.